Welcome or welcome back. Today we are going to be talking through my March TBR, and for those of you unfamiliar with what a TBR is, it's a to be read, which is essentially a list of books that readers put together at the start of the month or the year or the week that they want to read and then promptly forget about and read none of. So before we jump into what I want to read, let's talk very, very briefly about what I'm currently reading, and therefore I guess the end of these books is on my TBR. First up, we have The Death of the Author. This is actually a reread for me, which is not something that happens a lot, but I am having a discussion with Jay and Stephanie at Hathaway Ever After about this very shortly, and that will be over on their channel, which I will link down below, and I'm not sure when it will be posted or anything like that, but I'm very much looking forward to it. I adored this book when I read it, and I have actually wanted to give it a bit of a reread because it's dual POV, kind of, and I somewhat ignored one of the POVs when I first read through it because I am a weirdo and enjoyed the other one more, but actually I think that the one that I ignored is pretty relevant to the story, although I thought at the time that it wasn't relevant. Anyway, the point is I'm very excited to get the opportunity to reread this, to get the opportunity to chat to some people about this, because it's not a massive book and there's not a lot of discourse about it anywhere, and I didn't know anyone else had read it until they read it, and I'm also forcing someone else to read it, and so all things are happening with this book, and so I need to reread it and refresh my goldfish brain so that I can go and chat about it and be excited about it, because it's a fantastic book. And if you've not read it yet, oh my god, I'm rapping. If you've not read it yet, go and read it because it's so good. The other book that I'm reading at the moment is The Blighted Stars by Megan E. O'Keefe. This has been on my radar for ages, and I'm kind of entering a sci-fi era for me at the moment, I say as I think through my TBR and realise that everything on it is fantasy. But I was intending to read more sci-fi because I've been really loving this book. It's about this world primarily, I would say, rather than an individual character, although there are obviously characters. But the most interesting aspect of it is this world in which when you die, you come back as a kind of, not a clone, but you can be reborn basically. But if you are deaded too many times in too many traumatic ways, eventually this builds up, and the trauma, I guess, prevents you from being able to come back to life in the standard way. And it's really awesome. I am loving the protagonist, whose name escapes me at this very moment because I am so tired right now, but it's a fantastic book, and I think it's a series, so I'm very excited to read the rest of the series as well. Now onto the actual TBR part of the video where I talk about books that I am intending to read, and I have a lot that I need to read, and I don't think I'm going to be able to read it all, but here we are. First up, we have The Girl with a Thousand Faces. This came out of my Tinder TBR video. If you haven't already checked that out, it is really quite a video, I would say. I don't know how to describe it, but it went in a direction I wasn't expecting. I, for some reason, thought it would be really wholesome, and it turned out it was wholesome, but in a different way. Like without the W. This is coming out soon. I have an arc of it. I think it comes out in May. Stunning cover. Can we talk about how gorgeous the cover is? I do read things based on the cover because I am a shallow person, and the cover is gorgeous, but also the story sounds amazing. It's set in Hong Kong, and it has lots of fairy tales and folk tales and ghost tales and things woven into the story. I think it may be a little horror-y, I get that vibe, which isn't necessarily my jam. However, kind of fantasy horror is fine. When you get into the kind of horror-y horror, that's when you start to lose me a little bit. So I think I will love this book. When I'm looking for something dark, I'm definitely going to pick this one up. It's slightly lower down my priority list for this month, just because I have other arcs that I need to read for books that are coming out in March, and I'm stressed about reading them all. And one of those arcs is the Book of Fallen Leaves, which comes out on the 24th or 17th of March. One of the two. I don't know which one. I don't even want to think about it. I don't have enough time to read this book, and I really need to, and I think it's quite chunky. It's been described as Shogun meets A Song of Ice and Fire. Actually, probably they described it as Shogun meets Game of Thrones, because that has greater name recognition due to the fact that that's what the adaptation was called. Anyway, this book probably won't be Shogun meets Game of Thrones, regardless of the fact that that is the tagline. However, I've heard pretty good things about from other people who have received an arc of this book. So I'm really looking forward to jump into it, and also I desperately need to get to it because, as I've said, it's long and it comes out soon, and I am very, very stressed about getting it done in time for its release. Next up, we have another book that came out of my Tinder TBR video. This one isn't an arc like the previous two, which also both came out of my Tinder TBR video. I don't know if I mentioned that for the Book of Fallen Leaves. And this one is called The Frog Princess. Now, for some reason, my brain didn't make the connection between The Frog Princess and the Disney movie that's called The Princess and the Frog, I think it's called, which is actually adapted from this book, apparently, which I didn't know that was an adaptation, but here we are. So I've not actually seen the movie. I don't know what it's about. I'm assuming it's about the same thing as the book, because that's what adaptations are generally about. And what the book is about is a princess who doesn't really fit in, who kisses a frog that is a prince in order to turn him back into a prince, but ends up turning into a frog herself, which is a fascinating concept and a really good twist on that classic fairy tale thing that, to be honest, doesn't make a lot of sense as a concept anyway. Why would kissing a frog turn it into a prince? I don't know. I don't understand. Or is it you kiss the frog and it turns into a princess? There's a lot of frog kissing going on in fairy tales, and I don't really know who decided that was a thing. But this book subverts it. The final arc that I need to get to in March, otherwise I will die because I won't have read the book before it comes out, and it comes out in 4 days, so I'll probably just read this one after the release, is To Ride the Wind by friend of the channel and friend of me, because I am the channel, Denver C. Binion. He is a non-debut author, but this is his debut novel because he's only previously written novellas, both of which are fantastic, so I recommend checking them out. This first novel may be crap, in which case I will be in a tricky situation, so I really hope it's good. This is about a world with both wyverns and dragons. For those of you wondering what the difference between wyverns and dragons is, I think it's just the number of legs or something. I don't know. It's some fantasy nerd thing. No one really cares. Anyway, the wyverns have been forced off into this corner of the empire, and the dragons rule the air. And then things happen. I don't know what things yet because I haven't read the book yet, which is why it's on a TBR. And no one talks about how hard TBR videos to do, because what do I talk about? I don't know anything about these books. I'm just listing things. Oh, it's like that Jennifer Lawrence. What do I say? What do I do? The other book I desperately need to get to in March is the 7th Dungeon Crawler Carl book, which is called This Inevitable Ruin. Oh, nailed it. And I need to read this in the next week because next Saturday I am going to see Matt Dinnerman live. I got his name right this time. In the last video I said that Dungeon Crawler Carl was the author. But no, Matt Dinnerman is the author of Dungeon Crawler Carl, and I'm going to see him live alongside Jeff Hayes, who is the fantastic narrator of the audiobooks. I highly recommend checking out the audiobooks if you are an audiobook fan. I'm so excited and also kind of terrified to see them because I know there's going to be a signing after, and I'm going to take my physical editions of Dungeon Crawler Carl, which I do not yet own and will have to buy, and I'm going to get them signed by him. And then do you make small talk, or how does it work? I don't know. Very stressful. Don't like human beings. I heard allegedly Matt Dinniman is a human being, which is really, really unfortunate. So maybe I just kind of silently get my book signed. Maybe I'm like, oh my god, I love your books, wah, wah. Maybe I think of something profound to say. If you can think of something profound that I should say to Matt Dinniman, feel free to leave a comment. I will not credit you, I'll pretend I came up with it, but feel free to leave a comment anyway. For those of you unaware of what Dungeon Crawler Carl actually is, because I did not at any point explain, I just assumed, it's about a man called Carl and his cat, and not his pants, because he doesn't have any pants if you're American. If you're British, he doesn't have any trousers. If he didn't have any pants, that would be quite distressing. Anyway, the Earth is basically destroyed by aliens, and they are forced into this post-apocalyptic game show that the aliens are running. Billions of people are watching. There's this D&D-esque magic thing going on. It's fantastic. It's funny. It's the only lit RPG I've read. Lit RPG, yes. And I want to read more of the genre, so if you have any lit RPG recs for me, let me know. I believe one of the other books on my TBR is a lit RPG. Could be wrong. It's definitely a progression fantasy, and it fits in that space of indie published stuff going on that I don't fully understand. And it's called Beware of Chicken, which is an awesome name. I don't know if I'll get to this month, but it's kind of there or thereabouts on my TBR. It's in my head, and it may or may not get picked up. I don't know anything really about this other than it's called Beware of Chicken, and I think that's enough to know to want to read it. Maybe I should learn more about it before I pick it up, but I probably won't. It has also come with a recommendation from Mr. Denver C. Binion, author of To Ride the Wind, dropping March 10th. Red City by Marie Lu is also on my TBR for the next month. This is very much conditional on other things happening and may or may not get read, kind of the same boat as Beware of Chicken. I don't know a tremendous about this one either, but it has come highly recommended. It made a bit of a buzz when it dropped at the end-ish of last year. I have read her YA works before and I wasn't overly impressed by them, but I believe this is an adult novel. It's been described as The Godfather meets The Magicians. I have not read / watched either of those things, so I don't know, but I think The Godfather is about a mob boss and The Magician is about an apprentice wizard. I'm kind of guessing at that, but how I don't know how those fit together. I'm excited for this book, even though I don't know anything about it, just based on hype. I like to go into things blind, which then creates an even bigger problem for this TBR video. I'm not going to do another TBR video. I think this is it for the TBR videos. I think we've tried and failed, and I think maybe this will not be a staple for the channel. Okay, the final book on my TBR. If we're being honest with each other, I'm not going to get to this book. Why am I bringing it up in my March TBR, you ask? Largely because I want to flex that I recently got an art of it, and this is The Last Contract of Isako by Fonda Lee. Now, I'm a Fonda Lee fan. I think it's safe to say I'm a Fonda Lee fan. And by that, I don't mean I read and enjoyed Greenbone Saga. I mean, I've read the book she put out with Shannon Lee, The Breath of the Dragon, something like that. I've read that. And I've read Zero Boxer. Who the fuck has read Zero Boxer? Why have I read Zero Boxer? I don't know. It actually was pretty good. For those of you wondering what the fuck Zero Boxer is, I believe it's Fonda Lee's debut. It's this sci-fi boxing space book. And it's not great, but it's okay. It's decent. And it was one of her earlier works, so we look past it. Now, am I a fan of Fonda Lee primarily because of the Greenbone Saga? Yes, it's a masterpiece. And I feel like this is her second masterpiece. I'm expecting huge things. It's a standalone. It's about a space samurai. It's about a space samurai. So what more do we need? Fonda Lee, I think, traditionally is a sci-fi author. I say traditionally. She wrote 3 or 4 sci-fi books before she came into the Greenbone Saga. And if you think about the Greenbone Saga, it is urban fantasy. It's not particularly fantasy in what it is. So I'm expecting very, very big things from The Last Contract of Isako. As I've said, I have a lot of books that I kind of need to read in March, whether it's because they were picked in my Tinder TBR video and I gave myself till the end of March to read those, whether it's because I have arcs of them and they are coming out and I need to read the arc before the book release date, because that is how the thing works. I need to put reviews out. I need to keep my NetGalley percentages up so I get more arcs. You get me? Oh, I might also check out Project Hail Mary again, but I think it might be a bad idea right before the movie to I'd be audiobooking it because the audiobook is fabulous. Re-audiobooking right before the movie comes out and then watching the movie and going, they got that wrong, they got that wrong, they got that wrong. Whereas currently I don't remember fucking shit that happened. I've sworn a lot. We're going to get demonetized. I'm not monetized. No one's watching this. Like and subscribe. I'm kind of ill right now, which is why I'm so delirious, but I'm hoping to stop being ill.
3, 6, 5, go. 3, 6, 5, go. 3, 6, 5, go.